Hey, and welcome to Matt and Jess TV. I am Matt
And I'm
Roast.
Jessica Bun Bun.
We are here with our reaction and review for House of the Dragon Season 3, Episode 8. We have made it to yet another battle, and we have made it to what is probably another excruciating 2-year wait between seasons. Yay!
Oh, this has been an excellent season. So, I'm feeling pretty good with the wait. If I have to wait and it's going to be as good as this, then I'm happy to have that wait. I wish it wasn't 2 years,
Mm.
but man, that battle, it was.
Well, this is the thing. I go on social media sometimes, and it feels like I understand social media is just the place people go to complain, but it
For
just feels like
sure.
I've seen so many complaints about this finale, and I will sit here and be like, okay, yeah, it's not perfect, but it's also, I think, a really good episode. I think this is leagues better than the season 2 finale. Like, there is so much happening. I think they left some questions open that are going to be really interesting moving into season 4. We had a very satisfying death. Like, well, I don't know, unless you're like a diehard book reader, of which we are not. Like, what did you
No.
want from this episode?
I agree. After last season, which I felt was like really lukewarm, most of it,
Mm,
this season as a whole has brought me a lot of what I wanted to see. Lots of great battles, starts with a great battle, ends with a great battle,
yeah.
lots of loss. Watching what happened with Rhaenyra finally getting the throne and moving all the way through to here. Like, this was such a good season. Like, yeah, you're right. The
Mm.
finale's not perfect, but it definitely wasn't bad, at least for me. I enjoyed it. Ormond's death? Oh my god.
I loved Ormond. I did not understand why I loved Ormond as much as I do because I kind of hated him at the start of the season.
I loved to hate him.
Yes, he was such a Okay, we will talk more about Ormond's demise, what happened to
Mhm.
Helena, a whole lot more, obviously. But before we go any further, be sure to hit that subscribe
Mhm.
button. We are currently covering here at YouTube Silo Season
Yep.
3, and coming up as we get further into the year, there is so much great stuff we're looking forward to getting
Mhm.
into. American Horror Story 13. That is the
Mhm.
official name for the 13th season,
Mhm.
ironically enough. Like, if you guys did not know, Jessica Lange, Sarah Paulson, like a lot of the iconic people are going to be back for that. And we are also so excited already about Dexter
Yep.
Resurrection Season 2. Season 1 was a million times better than it had any right to be. So, like, our anticipation is high.
Thank you so much to everyone who has subscribed.
Yeah, we really, really do appreciate that. Okay, let's just stay with Ormond for a moment here because, like, this is the pivotal part of this Battle of Tumbleton, which I think
Mhm.
we've all kind of assumed was probably going to happen at some point. And yeah, I thought Ormond would probably die this season, but if you were to tell me that he was going to die, both one in the midst of a battle, but two, it was going to be Ulf and his dragon who delivered the final blow. I did not see that coming.
I did not see anything with Ulf coming. I knew already, obviously, that he's like against Rhaenyra of
Hmm.
everything that happened. We had seen him trying to come together with Ormond, but after Ormond found him, he'd been drinking, he's on the toilet,
Yes.
he's not where he's supposed to be, he's not doing anything. I think Ormond realized why Rhaenyra was having such problem with him in the first place, because
Yep.
now he's having the same problem, which is when it really counts, he's not there. But to watch him just go off and just get his dragon, be like, okay, you want me to take care of Rhaenyra's people? No problem. Dracarys. Oh, you know what? You guys too. I was like, whoa.
Okay, this is just such a unique situation because the question I have is, who are we supposed to feel for in all of this? Because I
Right.
will say, this may be bad of me. I found Ormond kicking Ulf to be really funny after Ulf was just sitting on. Listen, Ulf is not doing his job. This is why, yeah, it stinks that Damon was mean to him. It's not nice that Ormond is literally kicking him while he's down, but it's sort of like he has to get his you know what together. And like, what does Ulf expect when they gave him a dragon and he is just wasting away, not doing anything, getting drunk?
Listen, I'm gonna counter and say, what did Rhaenyra and Ormond expect? He is somebody that has been pulled out of a tavern to then get on a dragon and fight. I don't know what they expected from this.
This is just bad decision making all around. This is
Agreed.
bad decision making from Rhaenyra, really bad decision making from Ormond, who is just like the king of that. This guy never really had that much of a plan. His whole plan was, I'm going to sit here in this town. I'm going to try to cause some chaos in some other town and hope that they don't attack me in enough time that I'm going to be okay.
For sure. I mean, I understand that he wants to try to keep Daron as safe as possible, but you already had a dragon rider of somebody who's a little more experienced than Ulf, who's, pulled out of a tavern, get on a dragon, and all the best to you. Like,
Yeah.
Daron really wanted to do something to try to figure it out. They already had a dragon rider, and they didn't use him.
I think Ormond just flew too close to the sun here. I think he got a little bit too big in his britches because a lot of his plans over at King's Landing were working. He sort of became, like the parent at the pageant where they're like in the background, like directing their kids how to dance on. I think he thought he was that way with Daron at this point, and everything was just going to work.
Speaking of the kids, that move of having all the kids in town up against the whole front line of this battle, brutal. That was so heart-wrenching. And even seeing Daemon come up with his dragon being like, get out of the way.
Yes.
You gotta move. It was sad. Ormond is the absolute worst. And once I saw that coming together, I was like, man, I really wanted to see Cole go in some sort of dramatic death, not a hero's death, just a horrible, horrible dramatic death. I wanted to see that happen to Ormond even more after I saw what he was doing. I was like, this is low.
It is real. Ormond's a tool. Like, he is one of the biggest tools in all of Westeros. And it's like, yes, there is a part of me that is sad that he is no longer with us just because I enjoyed this character. I watched James Norton for the first time on like the early seasons of Grantchester, and this is my favorite performance of him because he's usually not able to play like this sort of there's a lot of words I want to use to describe this character that I cannot in fear of things happening to our YouTube channel, but it's just, he never gets to play this guy. So to see him as this guy do these really terrible things that even Daemon is like, this is probably too far. And like, he does not really know what the line is, to the point where you have Daron, as you were talking about, like, he who is just struggling under his control finally decides, I have to try to do something else just because I cannot stand this dude anymore.
He is so good at being so bad. He is really a bad guy, Ormond. Sad to see him go because he was really compelling television.
Yeah.
I'm hoping we're going to have, more of somebody else coming in maybe next season that's as good as him at least.
Yeah, and here's just the other interesting thing about this battle, and I could understand why there's some frustration out there, which is just, we have a really dynamic, like totally awesome sequence that goes on for some time with Daemon. You've got Hugh running through here, trying to find his wife. Like, there's all these moving pieces, and we get resolution to some of it, and yet we don't know what happened to Daron. Like, we never saw his body.
Nope.
Gwain's still alive. Gwain's out here looking
No
for him.
body, no death.
Yeah, it feels like he is still around. It's not. It does not feel like we're being set up here that Daron is gonna be like the final king. I don't even know if he wants it, but to just have him die after trying to do the right thing here, it just seems kind of mean, even for this show.
Off screen, like, no thank you. We've been with Daron all season long. I think a lot of us are not rooting for him to be king, but just kind of rooting for him. He seems like, he's a decent enough kid trying to do the right thing. I don't think there's a lot of Daron haters out there that it's like, if you're gonna kill him off, well, you're gonna do it off screen. I feel like 100% no. It's just, they're not gonna end up doing that. I would be floored.
I would be floored. I would be disappointed. It feels like there's more story to tell there, especially because like so much of both the prelude to this battle, the battle itself, they're all set up through this lens of who Rhaenyra and Daemon now are, where Daemon has kind of been the one pushing to make things happen, to take over other places, to let nobody stand in their way. In this finale, Rhaenyra kind of says, not exactly this, but all right, Damon, you right. We're gonna go ahead and try to do some of this. It is this big turning point, and Damon sort of turning away from this prospect of peace that Daron is pitching.
Mhm.
Like that's sort of representative of what could be the entire philosophy of Rhaenyra moving into season 4.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised that Damon said no to this, but
Mhm.
at the same time, it was interesting to see him at the end sort of really getting into his own head and his own fury of everything that was going on, seeing the kids, seeing all the destruction that was just left behind. Like it was really washing over him in a way that I don't think he expected to have happen to him.
Yeah, and it's a reminder he is not devoid of empathy, where it's just like
No.
Damon can do some really, really hard things. We have seen that, but this is not Ramsay
Yes.
Bolton. This is not
No.
Joffrey from the original Game of like this is someone. What happened with Rhaena, I think, is the perfect example of like there is some morality. I think he does care in particular about children. It's like this is hard for him on that level, but I think he just also has like this very binary view of the world where it's like, okay, we can't let other people come out here and claim that they're ruling something because they're never going to be satisfied. Because if he was them, he would never be satisfied. And I think he projects a lot of like his viewpoint of the world onto other people.
Okay, talking about somebody who doesn't care about anybody anymore, let's talk about Rhaenyra because, man, she is lighting the way forward with all the bridges she is burning behind her. Everything with Bela is just like, what about Corlys? You just gonna leave him there?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not really a priority. There's a rescue mission, right? Nah, we'll see. He put himself in that position. I love that she was called out on all of that. Just be like, we're all just, if we're useful to you, then you're fine with us. And the minute that we're not useful to you, you don't care about us. Like, why are we fighting for you if you don't care about us? We're only supposed to care about you. One way street. I was like, thank you. Somebody is finally saying something.
Yeah, one of the two biggest problems I did have with this finale is that this is not like Game of Thrones Daenerys, where all of this is just like magically popping up. Like there have been,
No, it's not.
yeah, like there's been signs, there's been evidence. Rhaenyra has tried to go about things in King's Landing the Viserys way. A lot of it just hasn't worked for her, but
Right,
still.
but she has been definitely the past few episodes for sure getting very, very obsessed with what is my prophecy? I am supposed to be here. The gods have willed me to be on this throne. Right, right. Like she's asking everybody to just like give her the praise and reassure her. You know, we saw her even with Helena a few episodes ago, like grabbing her by her hand to be like, tell me this is what it is. Like she really is down the hole with this. So I'm not surprised that she ended up in this spot. The minute that it was like, oh, by the way, Sunfire and Aegon, they're both alive and they are both coming for you. There was lead up to this. This wasn't out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's like, do I wish this season was maybe 10 episodes? So this could have been episode 10 and we had a little bit more buildup? 100%. But it's also, I can buy into it also just because it feels like Rhaenyra is becoming one of those people, and I think we've all seen this in life too, where if like everything bad is happening around someone, you know, they're tripping all over themselves, they're making mistake after mistake, and they want to find something to feel good about. And in some cases, they just make something up in their head. And like Rhaenyra, it's a little different than that because you have this whole prophecy that she's been told, and so like she just goes more and more down the hole on this to the point she's willing to go up here, give this speech, start talking about things that like 99% of the people in King's Landing have no idea what she's even talking about.
Yeah, like, and some of the decisions she's making, I mean, it's reminiscent of the conversation that she had with Alicent at the beginning of the season, where
Yeah.
Alicent was like, hey, you want some queenly advice? Here it is. You're going to end up doing things that you would never do, that you think you would never do. You
Mhm.
have to find a way to put it in a compartment and put it away, because if you don't do these things, you're not going to be able to hold on to what you're trying to hold on to. Nah, that'll never be me. And then she's got Alan in here killing this priest. She's got, guys holding down Helena to ensure that she's being force fed. Like, she is doing some of the darkest timeline things of this whole season.
Yeah, really, really dark and really, really brutal. And like, this is all reflective, and I think a couple of different things in particular. There is, one, her sending Massaria away, which is sort of representative of, you know what, your way of thinking, you're caring about the small folk. They don't care about me. You can go ahead and get out of here. But then you also have the prophecy of sorts laid out here by Helena towards her. And okay, it's complicated to talk about this because in Game of Thrones, Joffrey does lay out what happens to Rhaenyra down the road here. So this is not a spoiler. This has been said in Game of Thrones that Rhaenyra is going to meet her end thanks to her brother, or rather her brother's dragon. Like, there can be some wiggle room with this. Maybe Joffrey was misinformed. You could say all, but it does feel like, though, this is another sign pointing to Rhaenyra's ultimate demise. And we also know from Daenerys, if you start to become this way, it probably is not going to end well for you.
No, it's not. It's not like you're going to go mad and then all of a sudden you're going to be like, you know what, I'm good.
Yeah, no, it just doesn't work that way. But I think what you pointed out with her learning about Aegon and Sunfire, like, that is to me very believable as sort of the switch that would go off, because like, that's been the only thing insulating her and allowing her to actually feel like, I can be queen. There's not going to be any sort of serious contest going on out here.
Yeah, once Aegon is still back in the picture and his dragon's in the picture, now it's a problem, because I'm sure the wheels are turning. As I was talking about last week, the idea that Aegon was going to go and find Aemon, that they were going to maybe try to find a way to work it out. That's kind of what's happening. Now they've got 2 dragons. If they're able to maybe grab Daron, bring him in, now they have another dragon. If they had Helena, they would have had a 4th dragon. I mean, she's, not here anymore. We will get into that. But I'm sure her wheels are trying to be like, okay, I have this many dragons, except now Ulf is gone. So am I really going to be able to fight Aegon and what is going on, especially with Aemon and Aemon's dragon?
I think this is the thing. Like, I know the show is called House of the Dragon, but it is that word dragon that, like, she keeps hitting home over and over again, that she thinks that her power is now quantified by how many dragons she has. And
yeah, it's like she's a social media person who's like, you know how many followers I have? It's like, nobody cares.
Yeah, and it's just like, followers are only great in certain circumstances here, social media person. Dragons, yes, they're great in very specific circumstances, but also they can't be in every single place in Westeros at once. If you don't have an army backing you up, if you don't have allies among a lot of the famous houses, like, this is all going to fall apart. And I think there's been a lot of people, and we've certainly seen this over the course of the season, who have been willing to back Rhaenyra because of Viserys, because of the history of that particular Targaryen line, where if all of this trickles down to them and it's like their kingdoms are starting to come into chaos, at a certain point, they are going to be like, okay, this is too much. We don't want to deal with this anymore. And if there's enough of them, the dragons aren't going to be able to get to them all.
No, absolutely not. She needs allies. She needs even just her own house in order. You've got, like I said, Bela's already kind of out on her. Is like, oh, so you're just treating people like whatever. Adam's not feeling that great about it. Corliss already, left. Like, she's now sent White Worm away. It's just, her small council is terrible. Like, truly just not with her. She really doesn't have people around her that are willing to do anything except for Alan. And he's not really there willing to do anything because it's her.
Yeah.
He's really trying to find his own footing.
Yeah, and that's always been one of her problems. It's just that she doesn't really have anyone she can fully trust here. Like, Daemon has had his own issues for the entirety of this show. And I mean, for the longest time, this person could have been Alicent, but it is just like one thing after another. They just altered the course of history where, Alicent frustratingly to me, wasn't really around this episode. I'm sure she
No.
still has some sort of role to play here, but I hardly imagine that like she's gonna go back and be BFFs with Rhaenyra, especially after what happened to Helena.
Oh my goodness. Okay, let's talk
Yeah.
about Helena. So we have not read the books,
Yeah.
but we do know that this was supposed to be something that was supposed to happen earlier on. It seems like we've still gotten to this where she is just like, I'm trapped. I'm a prisoner here.
Mhm.
White Worm on her way out is just like, by the way, you are never leaving here. You are going to be held here. You are being used as a piece on the board. So is your pregnancy. So whatever you can do to get out of here, you need to get out of here. And she did. She was just, after that whole feeding scene, I absolutely am like, I get it. She didn't find that there was any other way out of this situation. She can't escape in any kind of way, like White Worm did,
Yeah.
where she's just like, okay, if this is my life where men are going to come in and force feed me and, whatever's going to happen to my baby and I'm just a prisoner forever, what kind of life is this? She even kind of said that, like being just alive and not being killed is not life.
No, all of this is really, really sad, and I actually think it's really, really well
Yes.
done because, like, the obvious parallels to Tommen on Game of Thrones are like
Yes.
those windows are cursed. Like, I think
I
we can just
know.
say that first, but I think it's also that instance of history repeating itself. It is a reminder that if you have like some inherently good qualities when you are positioned in this sort of way, because we think about Tommen. Tommen was far from the worst character on Game of
Mhm.
Thrones, and Helena's really one of the few Targaryens who actually does seem to care about nature, care about the world. She never really wanted to be in this position where she had to rule. That there's just not really a place for you there. You're always going to be used as a pawn. Nobody's going to take you seriously. Like, I
Mhm.
just one of the final straws was her just trying to talk to Rhaenyra, just if it's something as simple as a bug that she finds interesting, and she just sees how patronizing Rhaenyra is to her, and it's just like, okay, you're never gonna get me. You're never gonna try to get me. You do not care about the right things, and that's why that whole "you are ugly" speech was just like a dagger after a dagger.
And watching Rhaenyra realize what happened and just go over and peek out the window and then just close the window and walk away, I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Next season, she is just going into her more dark, evil era.
Yeah, it's like I'm not surprised, obviously, that Helena is gone. The show has foreshadowed this for a
Yes.
little while, but it's still at the same time with like that one little force of good in this castle. It does kind of make you feel, oh, okay, so really anything is going to happen from now on.
Mhm.
Everyone could die. A lot of people we like could die. It's just like we have to prepare ourselves accordingly for that.
Okay, Aegon and Aemon. Man, I wish this scene had gone on longer than this. I didn't know what to expect when they got back together. That slap was the slap heard across Westeros. I was just like, okay, we're getting somewhere. If Aegon is just gonna give him that slap, you're gonna have Aemon be like, you know what? I really did do you dirty. This wasn't okay. If you want to kill me, I absolutely get it. What I did was wrong, and I'm really sorry. And I think that when you're so mad at somebody
Yes.
and you just want to unleash, having the other person be like, no, you're 100% right. Honestly, from my heart, I deserve everything I'm getting. It's hard to keep that anger up.
This was the most brother coded scene, I think, in
I
all. And I don't
know.
even have a brother. It's just like when you think about your siblings and the ways in which you do tend to feel about them, where
Yep.
you harbor all this anger, and siblings fight all the time. Like these two have literally wanted to kill each other, but it's just once you get to that moment, and they both had been sitting on all this guilt, all these feelings, and Aemond, I understand you have been Mr. Privilege at times. You were brought up in this way to think you could be this ultimate ruler, this ultimate fighter. Of course, you're going to have jealousy of your brother, especially because he didn't have anything happen to his eye. It's
Yep.
like you have all of this just like pent up emotion. And it's like, I agree with you. I do wish there was more of these two. I felt like this storyline was kind of cut off like midway through it.
Yeah.
This is the biggest thing I wonder about now is it's like, all right, they're pouring out their hearts to each other. can this dynamic actually work now? Where it feels like Aemond is strategic, right? Like he
Yep.
is smart. He has the best dragon. He is very, very skillful in combat. Aegon's not necessarily good at any of that, but what we do know about Aegon is he can rile people up. He's pretty good at giving like angry, passionate speeches. Like maybe they actually can be this sort of like weird dynamic duo moving forward.
And he's relentless and he really wants that crown now. Like when we first met Aegon, he wasn't really for it. He just wanted to do whatever he wanted whenever he wanted. He was really young. And now he's gone through a lot and
Mhm.
now he's like, I really want that back. Like it feels like it was taken from me. I
Mhm.
was there. I was gonna figure it out sooner or later. I feel like I'm there. Now I know I need my brother to make this happen. Who's this woman? Okay, we got a witch on our side. Perfect. Let's go. Let's go find your dragon. Get me back on the throne, and all is forgiven.
Going into next season, I think this is the big question I would then have for Aegon. It's like, all right, let's say you're able to get what you want.
Yeah.
Then what's next? Like your entire motive here seems to be I want revenge because all these things happened to me. I could have done X, Y, or Z. I never had the chance. So it's like, okay, yeah, maybe you're going to be able to do this. I don't know how many people are going to be supporting you beyond Damon. Maybe, like you said, he'll have Daron. We'll wait and see on some of that. But then it is nobody seems to like you. That has been made very, very clear thanks to Laris and some other people here.
At the same time, it does sound like some of his supporters are still out there. That's something that news that was brought back to Rhaenyra to be like, not only is he alive, not only is his dragon alive, but there is support for him still.
The real adversary of this show coming out of season 3 is still Warner Brothers, who's only giving it 8 episodes. They really do feel like they are limiting things to a certain
I
degree because
know.
it's like we don't know a ton about the books. We try to stay as unspoiled as we can, but it is sort of like at the same time, there are supposedly a lot of other characters, dragons, like this other stuff that has to be introduced. And it's sort of we can sit back and be like, okay, great, we get more of this, but we only have so much time.
Yeah.
And that's with the limited amount of time we're giving to people. Not like there's people like Rhaena, you just mentioned Aegon Aemond, we talked about it. That's not like there are all these people who are not even really attended to in this finale.
Allison was in this for all of like 30 seconds, which was really surprising.
Yeah, and so it's just like I hope there's proper time given to wrap everything up because this
Mhm.
was a really good season, far and away better than season 2.
Yes.
Let's turn it over to you guys though. Let us know, what did you think about the finale of House of the Dragon, your predictions for season 4, and hit that subscribe button so you do not miss our coverage of Silo,
Mhm.
American Horror Story coming up as well.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Thank
We
you.
will see you here next time.